Hi there, Sandra here from Createinspain. Thanks for joining me today. I have a very simple card design. In fact, this isn't even going to be a tutorial on how to put it together because it's what I call a one and done card. It is quite literally a one piece of card, one lot of cutting, folded, and you're done, aside from any sentiment that you might want to add or any bling that you want to add to it. What I do have are a couple of hints and tips for you if you're doing this kind of card. Firstly, the type of card that you use. This is a construction card. It's not the best of cards for actually doing detailed cuts because it's quite fibrous, but it's very good when it comes to doing a one-piece card because it is sturdy, it's substantial, and it doesn't feel flimsy. The downside of that is you really do need to get your cut settings exactly right. This means that you are either going to do more than one pass or you are going to be doing a higher force than you would normally use, most probably. This is because if you don't get these cuts exactly right, the whole card loses its brilliance, if you like. The simplicity is there. You need it to be a really, really good cut. So test cut, and test cut. Err on the side of going slightly over in the pressure rather than slightly under, because you don't want to be fighting to get these things out. Now, the other thing that I did when it came to shortcuts a lot, and this was just my prototype, so this one is not perfect. If you can see here, I've got some fluffy bits where the card had to be torn to get these little pieces out. So the pressure was not enough, okay? In Shortcuts a lot, you've also got a setting which is in the cut settings window, and it's called overcut. Now, normally this is set to 1mm, and it's not a bad idea to experiment with that just a little bit because you may find that it helps with these sharper points in getting the cuts out. So I actually increased mine a little bit for the next one that I did, and I think it did make a difference, but I think I possibly needed to up the pressure just a bit more. So this is the second one that I did. And my other tip is, when it comes to getting these bits out, have a thick piece of foam and a tool that you can poke, and then you can just do that to get your pieces out. Now, if you notice that they're all sticking at the same place, then put the pressure on that place. So if, for example, I found they were sticking on the point of the heart there, put the pressure there, press down quickly, and you'll get the cleanest possible removal that you can. If you're really lucky, and I say that smiling to myself because it involves another problem, if you're really lucky, all the pieces will stick to your mat and you'll just lift it off in one piece and it'll be absolutely wonderful. The difficulty then is you've got to get them all off your mat, which can be a bit of a pain in the neck. I tend to use a wallpaper scraper tool for getting them off the mat. It's fairly wide and it does it relatively quickly. So that one is definitely better. Most of them came out cleanly, a couple did not, and that was only one pass. Okay, so if I had done a second pass, it probably would have come out exactly right. In fact, they would probably have been left on the mat. Now, the other thing is score marks. If you're going to do this kind of card, you really don't want to do dashed lines for your score marks. So what I do is I put a score tool in my cutter, use that, and what I've done is I've set the line to draw, which means that it does not have an offset for the blade at all. And I set it to a high pressure. It's about 144, I think. And I set it to go twice. And that will give me a pretty good score line down there. And when you do a score line with a tool like that, it's something like this. You can use a proper score tool. You're not going to get the card broken in the same way that you will with dashed lines. Dashed lines look terrible on this sort of card. If you're going to do dash lines, just don't bother, do it manually. And the other tip I have for this is if you have a worktop with a straight square edge, which I do, I put this against the edge of my worktop in order to get this bent in the correct place. It makes it so you are less likely to actually crease the card, which you can do if you get it slightly off. You can crease the card elsewhere, and that obviously will make your design look terrible. And then you find you get a nice easy card. Now I have done this design for Valentine's Day, but you'll notice it isn't red. I designed this card and made it in yellow because there are people who have unfortunately lost loved ones and don't have a Valentine partner to get a card from, and family members quite often send them Valentine cards, but to send them one in red, which is sort of like the colour of romantic love, maybe is just a bit too much, and maybe you'd prefer to send one in a different colour. And I thought a bright yellow for springtime is just the ticket.